Staples Center, downtown Los Angeles, the home of the hottest team in the NBA, the surging Lakers, with 17 straight wins. And this capacity crowd of better than 19,000 would love to see the home team move one game closer to the NBA Finals. It is Game 3 of the best-of-7 Western Conference Final, with the San Antonio Spurs going up against the Los Angeles Lakers. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Doug Collins. We'll be joined in just a moment by Jim Gray. And Doug, over the first two games of this series, Kobe Bryant has been spectacular. He's been Michael Jordan-like, certainly in Game 1. As for Shaquille O'Neal, Spurs did a nice job holding him in check. His number's not bad, but he did not kill San Antonio. What do you look for tonight?
Well, Mark, Kobe has been a road warrior, and it's almost been by design what he's done to come out and take these games over. In Game 1, he was brilliant. 45 points, getting to the rim, finishing. But then in Game 2, the big plays late in the game, the great pass to Shaq, and then the big three-pointer that really sealed the deal to give them a 2-0 lead. This put them up 7 late in the game, was the crusher. And then you say, by design, what are these guys doing? Well, look, on the road, it's been Kobe, almost 36 points a game. Shaq has been rather quiet at 24. That means bad news if you're the Spurs. Look what Shaq is doing at home. 36 points. Kobe still over 27, 59% of the team scoring. We've heard everybody talk now about what they're going to do tonight. They're going to go into Shaq early, try to force him to get the ball inside, put the pressure on the Twin Towers. If that's the case, foul trouble could be early, Mark, for Robinson and Duncan.
As for the Spurs, looking back at the first two games, well, Game 1, San Antonio head coach Greg Popovich was telling us yesterday, he said, "We stunk," not referring to the broadcasters. He was making reference to his ball club. Game 2, Tim Duncan comes out, scores 40 points. He lit it up. Spurs had it in their hands, let it slip away, and the Lakers came up with the victory. What do the Spurs have to do to get back into the series?
Well, we know that Tim Duncan has been brilliant, and the Laker philosophy defensively has been, we're not going to double team him early in the game. We're going to see if he gets it going. Well, you know what? In Game 2, 25 in the first half, he was unstoppable getting the ball to the basket. So then came the hard double teams. In the two games, they have forced 13 turnovers, and then when he has passed the ball out, they have not been able to hit the open shot to the three-point shots. So what do they have to do tonight? First of all, David Robinson has got to stay in the game and be aggressive offensively. I think they need 18 or more points for him. The three-point shooting that was best in the NBA. They have got to hit shots tonight to open it up for Duncan inside. In an elimination game mindset, they cannot allow this to get to 3-0. They are not going to win 4 straight against the Lakers. Now the bonus, Derek Anderson coming back. He will not be the answer, but he will give them energy and speed, something they have sorely needed. Their thought process is this: win tonight, make the Lakers think about Sunday.
All right, so coming up, it's game number 3 of this best-of-7. The Lakers try to make a 3 out of 3. For the Spurs, it has reached the point of desperation.
You get down 3-0, you're fighting history and everything else.
It was really the critical win for this series, is to put them in a position where they have to think about losing.
We can either fight our way, claw our way back into it with this win, or really put ourselves out of contention with this loss.
So Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers are continuing their quest to become the first NBA team to run the table in the postseason. We're moments away from the opening tip. Los Angeles, as we take a look at the starting lineups for this game number 3 of the best-of-7 Western Conference Final Series. Well, as mentioned on the pregame, Derek Anderson makes his return from the shoulder injury, and he will start at the small forward alongside David Robinson and Tim Duncan, Antonio Daniels, and Terry Porter. In the backcourt, so Greg Popovich doing some shuffling, while the Lakers with their usual starting 5. Rick Fox, Shaquille O'Neal, Horace Grant up front, and Kobe Bryant and Derek Fisher in the backcourt. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Marv. I spoke to Shaquille O'Neal. He told me he's mad, he's angry, he's upset, and he's very frustrated. He says, I've never gone into a game feeling this way, and I'm taking it all out on the Spurs tonight. Tonight, it is personal. I'm not giving them any billboard material. I'll explain why after the game. Marv?
Mad, angry, and frustrated. That's after talking to Jim. Phil Jackson actually said that Shaq is totally agitated concerning his play, Doug, in the 2 games in San Antonio. He feels that he was just not getting the whistles, and he takes a pounding. And Phil said, well, we like to see him agitated.
Well, I think one of the things when we look at those numbers, in many instances, the pounding that he takes on the road, maybe he doesn't get the calls. At home, he's more likely to get that. That's why I said foul trouble could be so vital as we start this game. We talked about Robinson and Duncan must stay on the floor. If they go to Shaq here early, they've got to do a good job. But that man right there, David Robinson, has got to score for them. San Antonio played great defense the other night, held Kobe and Shaq to under 50 points at 47. They just couldn't put the ball in the basket.
The officials tonight, Danny Crawford, Jack Neese, and Ronnie Nunn. Only 2 teams in the history of the NBA have lost the first 2 games of a best-of-7 at home and then come from behind to win the series. The 94 Houston Rockets, the 1969 Los Angeles Lakers. That is the task in front of the San Antonio Spurs. The Lakers want to get Shaq involved early. Eric Anderson opening up defensively against Rick Fox. Kobe Bryant for 3.
He has been spectacular. How about the patience and poise, though? The possession, they go in 3 times to Shaq. He doesn't like what he has. He doesn't force it, and he kicks it out for the open shot.
The Spurs need a lift from Terry Porter, only 1 of 10 from 3-point land. Duncan draws the foul. A reach-in foul is called. And what has happened to San Antonio from beyond that 3-point line? Best shooting 3-point team in the league during the regular season. In fact, 3rd best record all time since the 3-point shot was brought to the NBA, and they have been dreadful from downtown.
Well, they have not gotten great looks at the basket because the quickness of the Lakers getting to the shooters. And look what you see in the first 2 rounds, Marv, the 3-point shooting. Look what they've done. Porter 1 of 10, Antonio Daniels 3 of 10, and that has to be there. But more importantly, I think when you add Derek Anderson, what they're hoping for is now he and Antonio Daniels together can give them some speed, maybe give them some layups. Then it will open the floor and they'll get better 3-point shots.
Opening minute, we're just underway. Bryant with the shot clock running down, putting moves on Daniels. Fisher gets it off, and Shaq was stripped by Anderson. Tim Duncan being played by Horace Grant. Duncan off the spin, and he's fouled again. Tim Duncan the other night on the way to a 40-point game, hit 9 for 9 from the line. And Doug, he's come a long way at the foul line after struggling for a good portion of the regular season.
Well, his concentration has been terrific. And Mark, just to talk about the Laker defense again, one of the things they do early, they don't like to double team, regardless of whether Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, whoever they're facing. What they want to do is see if the guy gets it going, and then late in the game go hard after him and put the pressure on shooters. That's why you've seen Duncan and some of these guys get off to great starts, and then they slow them down as the game goes on.
Well, Tim Duncan has missed his last 3 free throws after converting on the first. Duncan picking up Bryant momentarily. Now here's Shaquille with his first attack.
Even though that goes in, the Spurs will live with that because he has to make a shot. That's not a dunk. That's not a layup.
Lakers have a 5-1 lead. Robinson. Greg Popovich telling us yesterday that he wants David Robinson to take the open shots he was passing up the other night in Game 2. Once again, the Lakers in the half court being very patient. O'Neal to the crossover and draws the foul.
that's unfair for a man that big to be able to step out on the floor and to show this kind of footwork. Now, the previous possession, he gets the ball in the lane. Robinson does a pretty nice job of keeping him away from the basket, so he has to make a little bit of jump hook. Then the next possession, he steps out on the floor. Now, this is an all-defensive player, Tim Duncan, that he's playing against. Robinson coming over. The crossover dribble, the quickness, and Shaq is into this game early.
Foul was called on Duncan. Game 2 Monday night. O'Neal 3 for 6 from the line. He had been going well, and he has taken a dip in that department. Of the Sacramento series, only 49% from the foul line. Lakers with a 5-1 lead here in the early moments. Duncan. Robinson. And he is fouled by Fox. Fox going for the block. David Robinson will go to the line.
You see great activity by these Spurs. Normally not a good offensive rebounding team, but this is what happens. Look at all the attention. Here comes Shaq. Well, who's Shaq playing? He's playing David Robinson. A little spectating there by Rick Fox. You got to get in, get your body on him. He didn't. And Robinson will shoot 2 free throws. And this is what David needs. He needs to step up there, knock these free throws in early, get the vision of that ball going in the basket. Because they need him. And, you know, Mark, maybe they could get away 2 years ago with him not being able to score against the Lakers and win. Not now. His numbers in the conference finals, not David Robinson kind of numbers. He knows that. He's put the pressure on himself. It'll be interesting to see how he responds to it tonight.
Change on that foul call. It was on Horace Grant, not Rick Fox Grant. May have seen on the replay. Got Robinson with the body, although Fox did hack Robinson. Horace picking up his second. He sits down. Robert Horry with an early check-in. And Robert Horry, a very important player for the Lakers over the first 2 games of this series.
So he can step out and shoot that 3. That brings Duncan out on the floor.
Kobe picked up on the switch by Duncan. Robinson with the rebound. See Duncan on 7 occasions running out. Anderson is blocked. Blocked by Fox. Here's Kobe putting moves on Robinson and stepping down the road. What a surprise, the Spurs. And they did see Kobe 3 times this season. Robinson. And he hits the deck on the follow-through. The speed of Kobe Bryant. Shaquille gets down court.
It's a middle lapse because Tim Duncan's running right beside him and had no vision of the basketball. The Lakers were aware, threw it right over the top of his shoulder. And an easy score for Shaq. Those are the ones you can't give him.
Lakers with a 9-5 lead. And there's no question that David Robinson has come out looking for his shot. And Robinson 2 of 3 from the field, 6 points. Recall in game 1, he started very fast and then cooled off. In fact, since that first quarter in game 1, he has just been out of the flow.
Well, in the first 5 minutes, actually, that first quarter, Marv, he had 6 points. Since then, 7.5 quarters, only 15 points. He's off to a terrific start, but he can't let up. He's got to keep putting the pressure on Shaq, make him come away from the basket.
Terry Porter, and that's a very good sign for the San Antonio Spurs because Porter has been struggling.
Well, see what happens there with Shaq's man setting the screen. Robinson, he's hit a couple shots. Shaq stays close to him. Now Porter gets the jump shot.
The game is tied at 9. Bryant kicks it out. Fisher on fire from downtown. Fisher is now 8 from 9 in this series from 3-point land. Porter putting moves on Fisher. Anderson, brother Daniels coming up short. Robinson again. So David Robinson has hit 3 of 4. And the Spurs trail by 1.
Well, those second shots, Spurs normally not a good offensive rebounding team because they space the floor so well. Usually only have 1 guy rebound.
And pass by Kobe. It's a 4-on-3. Daniels. Here's Porter for 3. And Horry with the rebound.
Looks like Terry Porter tried to guide that one rather than shoot it, Marv.
Kobe.
Reminiscent of Game 7 last year against Portland, the beautiful lob that he made to him that really sealed that game late, gave him a 6-point lead. They went on to win Game 7 and the championship.
Lakers up by three-quarter, getting the step, finding Duncan, offensive foul. It's on Porter. Fisher took the hit.
Kobe Bryant, eyes up, looking ahead, surveying the floor. Great spin dribble. Finds his partner Shaq. They want to get him off to a great start, and how better to do that than give him a gimme? That's a layup and a dunk for Shaq. He's off and running, as is Kobe.
Back in Los Angeles, the Admiral, David Robinson, has come out strong. He's hit 3 of his first 4 from the field. Not passing on the open jumpers as Greg Popovich had requested, trying to turn it from games 1 and 2. We talk about Robinson with Tim Duncan.
I think he's the down and out key. He's the big part to this whole series. If he starts showing up and really playing well and playing aggressively and things start falling for him, I think it makes everything that we do so much easier. He's the heart and soul of our defense, and when he comes out there and he dominates that defensive glass and covers up the rim and makes everything down there so much tougher, our team just takes off.
If he starts showing up, says Tim Duncan, strong words.
Well, Tim realizes how vital he is. These two guys are inseparable. They realize how much they need each other. And even David said it the other night, when I'm off the floor, I put too much pressure on Tim. When I'm on the floor with him, I put pressure on Shaq.
David Robinson in foul trouble in game 2. They took that bad foul. Derek Fisher continues his incredible shooting from downtown. He's now 9 for 10 in this series from three-point land.
Well, he's an example of a guy who was hurt, really couldn't do anything other than shoot the ball, took full advantage of it as Robinson once again being very aggressive. But sometimes, Mark, when you're hurt, all you can do is shoot, you go in. I remember Scottie Pippen early in his career with a back surgery doing the same thing, and he became a much better shooter. And the game plan there, pounded into Shaq. 4-4 now, 8 points.
Lakers now lead 19-11. I mentioned the foul trouble of David Robinson the other night. Reach-in is called on Kobe Bryant. Robinson with 2 fouls within 1 second. He said it ranked as one of the dumbest things he's ever done on a basketball court.
Well, he got to 1, and he was talking to Bob Delaney, the referee, and they inbounded the ball, and all of a sudden Horace Grant cuts the basket. It's a touch foul, and that really changed the momentum of the game.
Lakers now up 19-11. Here's Derek Anderson. Lakers have hit their last 6 shots. 5:20 remaining in this first quarter. Kobe got the strike and set it up. Shaq is now 5 for 5.
Well, Tim Duncan, if he's not going to come over and block that shot, he's got to get in front of Shaq. Now, we've seen that 3 times already in this quarter. Kobe is going in the air, not as a shooter, but as a passer. Somebody's got to get in front of Shaq. There's Shaquille O'Neal. When he gets it that deep, puts that body on you, it's too late. And then Kobe Bryant looking for Shaq at home. We talked about the numbers at home, how he's dominated. Here comes Robinson. Duncan has got to get inside. He doesn't. An easy layup. The Lakers by 10.
I told Kobe today he was my idol. He was playing phenomenal. The mark of a great player is how you make your other players around you play. I now can truly say that Kobe Bryant is the best player in this league.
Well, Shaq a little over the top in his praise, but perhaps this type of play adds to what Shaq has to say. 5 assists for Kobe here in the early going. A beautiful setup for Shaquille O'Neal.
Kobe is just, the game now is coming so easy to him. And I read a quote by Michael Jordan in the paper today. He said, you know what, Kobe's not chasing the game anymore. He realizes how good he is, and what praise, you know, from a guy like Michael Jordan to talk about Kobe Bryant like that.
9-0 run for the Lakers. Duncan blocked by Ori. Danny Ferry has checked in for the First time, Ferry coming off the bench. He had been in the starting lineup. Greg Popovich going with Derek Anderson at the small forward position. Here's Fisher. Missed a three, but kept alive by the Lakers. 4.5 remaining in this first quarter. And Shaquille O'Neal is now 6 for 6 for 12 points.
Or that's why you can't give a guy layups or dunks, because then he's more willing to take those kind of shots. We've seen him dunk the ball twice, get a couple layups. So now you go to all your repertoire. You spin, get it in the lane, get that little bump, and now kiss it off the glass. So now he's rolling. He's got great rhythm and confidence. The Spurs are going to have to try to get him under control, or he's going to have a 40-point night.
And the Lakers on a tear, 12-0 run for L.A. Daniels able to drill it. And the Lakers now lead 23-13.
Now, Derek Anderson being out of the game early, I think that Greg Popovich realized he's got to keep his minutes down a little bit. I expect him to play better the next time he comes in.
Bryant off the spin. The crowd looking to explode at Kobe hit that shot. Avery Johnson getting set to check in for the first time. Tim Duncan very quiet here at the start. Robert Horry's done a nice job on Duncan.
Well, when I talked to Horace Grant yesterday, he said, you know what, I'm a little more physical. I bang him, and then Robert comes in, uses quickness and his extension, so we give him two different kind of looks out there.
Duncan 0 for 3 here at the start and 1 for 4 at the foul line. Got blocked down to 5. Here's Fisher. Fisher. That's his specialty, getting to those type of rebounds right around the foul line. But the Lakers not able to take advantage. Coming up on 3 to go in this first quarter. Now Shaquille O'Neal guarding Tim Duncan. Porter hits from downtown. So Terry Porter, just 1 of 10 from beyond the three-point line, is able to convert.
That's a big shot. You know he's a veteran player. He's played in championship series. He knows how to make those shots, but he's got to stretch that floor for his team.
Now Bryant played by Daniels. Able to whip right by him and draws the foul.
Foul number 21, Tim Duncan.
Watch Terry Porter as he sneaks behind that three-point line. Now remember, the corner shot is the closest three-point shot, so he gets down there, gets himself a nice look at it. And again, when you get the big guys getting all that kind of coverage, that's where that three-point shooting becomes so vital. Marv, you talk about the first 2 games, 9 of 31. And that game, too, when you look back at that, the Spurs were in great position to win that game. They couldn't get a shot to fall. And this, the poise of Kobe and Shaq late in that game. Derek Fisher hit some big shots. That was a tough loss for the Spurs. It looked like they were going to even that series.
Now Tim Duncan, who just picked up that foul, sending Kobe Bryant to the line, will sit down after collecting his second. Avery Johnson has checked in. Derek Anderson is back. So it's Robinson up front with Ferry and Anderson. Avery Johnson, Antonio Daniels at the guards.
A little different look here. Danny Ferry is a power forward.
Ferry now played by Horry. Ferry sets the pick. Daniels trying to penetrate, had a force. San Antonio continues to have difficulty finding good shots. O'Neal blocked by Richardson. Lead pass to set it up.
What a great call there, Marv. That was a brilliant pass by Kobe away from the defensive man, and then a super catch by Shaq.
Lakers 27, Spurs 16. Ferry passed on the 3 and hits the 2.
Now see, Ferry struggles as a 3 against the quickness of the Lakers. You move him over at 4. Now he's played by a bigger man. Maybe he'll get that shot off. You see the little pump fake. They need him to make some shots out there as well. That's what he did for them all season.
Minute and a half remaining in this first quarter. Ferry call on the reach-in.
You're always taught as a young player, throw the ball away from the defensive man. David Robinson gets up on the high side. Shaq seals him. Now David makes a great recovery, but Shaq with a second effort.
Set play on the inbounds. Rick Fox lobbing one for Shaquille O'Neal was hit by Danny Ferry, and Shaq will go to the line.
Great lob pass there to Shaq as he goes up. And Mark, when you look at the free throw shooting in this series, Shaq has only taken 14 free throws going into the night. Could this be one of those nights where maybe they throw in Malik Sealy or Chanel Scott or some of these guys and force Shaq to make some free throws?
Shaquille is now 1 for 3 from the line. Danny Ferry on the rebound. David Robinson. Oh, he had a wide open Derek Anderson. Shot clock at 5. Oh, what a shot by David Robinson. I don't know if that's one of the usual repertoire. He did have to adjust. Bryant. Kobe Bryant with 9 points. Lakers lead 30-20.
The Lakers have really changed their attack playing against the Spurs. They're putting the ball in Kobe's hand, letting him penetrate, run a lot of screen rolls, and they're trusting him to make the play.
And Robinson is fouled. So both teams are now over the foul limit.
Now, David Robinson has come out and been very aggressive. He's hit some jump shot. He's taken the ball in the lane. That's sort of shades of the MVP David Robinson when he got in the lane and scored. And here's Kobe once again sort of spreading the floor, letting him use his speed and quickness. And Mark, one of the things that I've seen in this series is I think that the Spurs initially sort of underestimated how quick Kobe got to the basket. They've done a better job recently of making some jump shots.
Standing ovation for Shaquille O'Neal, the rookie from Stanford. Mark Matson making a cameo. Phil Jackson will steal some extra time. Shaq will be able to rest between the break. Between the first and second quarters, Shaquille 7 of 8 from the field, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 40 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And here's Kobe Bryant again, shooting without any problem over the shorter Antonio Daniels.
Well, when you know a guy can't block your shot, you've got great confidence, and he's in such a rhythm right now. They might have to do something to force him to try to pass the ball and not let him isolate.
Daniels rebounded by Ori, and the Lakers will hold for a final shot of this first quarter. And the Lakers are hearing it from this capacity crowd as Fisher works the clock down. We're down to 5. Fisher for 3. Rebound catch. 2.5 seconds left in the first quarter. Avery Johnson fires one. This is not the way Greg Popovich and the Spurs wanted to open things up. The Lakers jumping all over San Antonio in this game 3 of the best of 7. It's the Lakers 34 and the Spurs 21. You're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
Perimeter player in the game right now, Kobe Bryant, the most dominant inside player. Shaquille O'Neal, those two guys, 11 of 15, 26 of the 34 points. Inside, outside. Kobe spotting up for the 3 early in the game, and they're putting the ball in his hands to let him create. He finds Shaquille O'Neal for the easy score. The great entry pass, the second shot opportunity by Shaquille O'Neal. And then Kobe once again with the isolation at the top of the floor, the size advantage, the jumper over Antonio Daniels. And these two guys have been brilliant. Mark, they missed 10 shots. The Lakers in the first quarter get 6 of them back with second chance opportunities. And you know what? In a game like this, if you're Greg Popovich, you said, guys, you know what? I don't mind being down by 13, but I want to go down being aggressive. And right now, the Lakers are the most aggressive team. The Spurs have got to find something to get themselves emotionally into this game.
Lakers with their biggest lead of the night, 34-21 as the second quarter gets underway. Let's go over to Jim Gray.
All right, Marvin, between quarters, Phil Jackson told his team, guys, Shaq's back in the game. Keep giving him the ball. Every time down the court, into Shaq. Marv?
Malik Rose is fouled. Rose starting out this second quarter. Excellent advice from Coach Phil Jackson. Get the ball to Shaq. And if not, there's Kobe. So Rose to the line, fouled by Brian Shaw, who was also on the floor for the first time. Tim Duncan with Malik Rose and Derek Anderson as the big men for the Spurs, and Daniels and Johnson in the backcourt. Well, you can log on to NBA.com to make your own in-progress highlight reel of every game with my highlights. And email the NBA commentators, including the Lakers' Robert Ory, moonlighting on the side. It's all on NBA.com.
Well, we take a look at David Robinson. He can't sit long because we've seen when he has been on that bench in this series that they have really struggled. Remember, Mark, game 1, they got in foul trouble, sat, and they got outscored 15-3 and never recovered in that game.
And Tim Duncan is off to the slow start. That's a 3-second violation. And this is a San Antonio team that had a terrific regular season. They finished 58-24, NBA's best overall record. Home court advantage throughout the playoffs. They finished the season winning 21 of their last 26 games. Avery Johnson off. Here's Tim Duncan, and he blows the stuff. Last touch by the Lakers. And then in the first round of the playoffs, San Antonio defeated Minnesota 3-1. In the second round, they beat Dallas in 5. As you take another look at Tim Duncan missing on the gimme stuff. Open shot for Rose.
Now they'll live with that. They'll live with him shooting jumpers. Shaq is going to stay back in the paint. So if they're going to take one pass and a shot, they'll make Malik Rose a jump shooter.
Lakers by 10. Fisher and Shaw now in the backcourt. Ory is way off on that three-point attempt. Lakers now have Kobe playing a small forward position. Anderson guarded by Shaw. Uses the pick from Duncan. Pick and roll. Duncan with the extra pan. Rose on the reverse.
That's what they want Derek Anderson to give. Maybe not scoring, but the quickness, the ability to create a shot. You know, Mark, you were talking about them having the best record, and without a healthy Derek Anderson, they are not the same team. Greg Popovich will not publicly talk about it because he doesn't make excuses.
O'Neal working his body on Malik Rose, who took a couple of shots off that spin move. It's deflected out of bounds by the Spurs. What a tough assignment. Malik Rose listed at 6'7", 250 pounds, buying some time here for David Robinson. Kobe Bryant, way off the field. Shaq thought he was fouled. Kobe will say that's an assist.
And Malik Rose will say he's way too big for me to do this.
Lakers by 10. Lakers continue the matchup. They go with Ory on Duncan. Who's Shaq playing? Now Shaq moves out on Rose. And Duncan able to handle that offensive rebound.
Well, again, Malik Rose is going to shoot those jumpers, and Shaq is going to stay back in the paint, and you're going to say, who's he guarding? Well, he's not going to guard anybody.
Duncan. Anderson.
Well, you can just see him out of sync. But, you know, in fairness, Mark, you miss 3 weeks and you can't do anything, and then come back in this kind of scene and this kind of pressure. I can only imagine what he's feeling.
Once again, the lob is thrown, and a foul is called as Shaq was hit. Foul on Rose.
Well, you know Derek Anderson wants to play well. He gets the offensive rebound. Watch as he starts to jump. It's like he's got no lift in those legs. And what happens when you can't run, you might get on that exercise bike, but that's not the same.
And again, the foul is called on the Spurs. Once again, it's on Rose.
The crowd is booing because they want it on Duncan. Here comes Duncan over. And they give it to Rose. So again, Shaquille now will have to go to the free throw line. And you can see the tail of the tape on that last offensive rebound. And Malik Rose had his body up against him, and that is not going to affect Shaquille O'Neal.
We were standing around watching the Lakers warm up. Earlier, you had mentioned the physique of Shaquille O'Neal, who was not in the best of shape over the first half of the season and has come a very long way, starting right after the All-Star break.
Well, you know, Shaq gets very sensitive about that, but when you look at his body now, you see the muscles that he's in shape. You know, early in the season, he was big. Now he is in tremendous shape, and you can see it. He's better defensively. He's better on the offensive boards. It's affected every phase of his game, and the Lakers now are feeling all the benefits of that.
Shaq now 2 of 5 at the line, making 2 out of 6. So let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Marv. Shaq told me today he's weighing in at over 330 pounds. He says he's going to work out the hardest he ever has this summer, and he's going to report to camp at 295. Marv?
295, very ambitious. Tim Duncan, that's his first field goal. He missed his previous 5, and the Lakers now lead 37-28. 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. O'Neal with the rebound. Duncan surprised by that pass and drew the foul. Ori is called for the block. And now a timeout is being called.
Well, the Spurs are going to enjoy this as Duncan is working himself in the game. It's just a matter of time. This guy's a great player. He will find a way to get his points.
Tim Duncan coming off a playoff career-high 40-point game in game number 2. He's had his problems thus far tonight. Tim Duncan, though, a guy's had quite a start to a career that is only in its 4th season. He was the first pick in the 1997 draft, won Rookie of the Year honors in 1998, and then in only his 2nd season, not only did he capture an NBA title, also named the MVP of the finals. Had the knee injury at the end of last season, bothered him at the start of this year. You see the shot chart, Tim missing his first 5 and hit his last shot.
Well, when he spoke with you and I yesterday, he was talking about the Laker defense. He said the one thing they are trying to do is he loves that bank shot. Anytime he gets there, they're trying to force him off that spot, put it on the floor, take away that little angle bank shot that he shoots so well.
And we saw that right in game 1. Was not able to get the proper angle. I asked him when did he develop the bank. We've talked about this on a number of occasions. Such a high percentage shot, and I know you agreed. I don't know if players use the glass. He said he really didn't shoot the bank until he was at Wake Forest.
Well, it's such a great shot because what it does, you pick a spot up on that glass and it softens your shot up. So, you know, you get that nice angle and you play it off the glass. I just think it's such a high percentage shot.
Lakers now lead 37-29, just under 8.5 remaining in the first half. Marv Albert with Doug Collins and Jim Gray. Game 3 of this best-of-7 Western Conference Final. Shaq, after the good start, has had some difficulties, although he's being played for the most part by Malik Rose in this second quarter. David Robinson is now back. Tim Duncan continues to have his problems. 1 for 7 from the field.
The extension of Robert Horry is bothering him on his shot right now. They're not double teaming him, and Duncan is very upset that he's not converting.
A little daylight here for the San Antonio Spurs off the sloppy play by the Los Angeles Lakers. Here's the 3-point attempt, and Anderson not able to find the range. Bryant bottled up and fouled. Avery Johnson getting a piece on Kobe Bryant.
You know, Marv, it's amazing when you're going well, how everything is good, and you know the criticism goes away. But that play right there was 1-on-4 that Kobe took that shot. Now, had he taken that in the losing streak, everybody would have criticized about how selfish he is. Well, now that things are going well, they're winning. I mean, that's a great play. I mean, he was 1-on-4 on that break. But it's funny when you start winning, how you start viewing things a little differently. And he took a lot of criticism early in the year for making that kind of play.
I thought when he first came back from his injury, he was looking for his teammates a bit more. Yes. You saw the assist totals elevate. And as you say, he's not doing that much different than he did during the regular season. But other teammates are playing better since the All-Star break. Rick Fox and Horace Grant have picked up their game, and Shaq has played better.
I agree with that. I think Kobe's healthier now, both, you know, after he mentally was beaten down a little bit, physically his ankles are right now. Shaq is playing much better. And the role players now, both Shaq and Kobe really trust him, and they trust the 2 stars. That's why they're playing so well right now.
Plus the addition of Derek Fisher has really helped this club. Foul is called. David Robinson off the drive was hit by Shaquille O'Neal. Well, the Lakers have won 17 straight, and the supporting cast has had a lot to do with this win streak.
What do you think about Fisher, the way he shot the ball and the leadership? How about Rick Fox in the second series against Stojakovic from Sacramento? Just glued himself to him, took him out of the series. Horace Grant had to go against Rasheed Wallace, Weber, and now Duncan. Those guys have all answered the call and what they need to do for this team to be successful.
Shot clock is down to 1. Johnson. Tim Duncan. So Duncan able to reach for that rebound and convert. He now has 6 points. And that Laker lead is now 39-31. Here's Derek Fisher. David Robinson with the block. Kept alive by Ori. Robinson knocked it away. Brian Shaw for 3.
How about that assist by Robert Ori? Sitting on the seat of his pants. He finds Shaw at the top of the circle. Now they've gotten very little scoring out of their bench, the Lakers. They've done a nice job of what they're expected to do, but that's a big 3.
Robinson, no hesitation with the jumper. We're seeing a different David Robinson here in the first half tonight.
He has to continue to do that because Shaq eventually was going to have to come out and get a hand in his face. That will help Duncan.
13 points for Robinson. Bryant off the crossover. Bryant with the rebound. Challenging Duncan. Duncan on the rejection. And a foul. Charge to Ori, who comes hobbling away. Antonio Daniels all right. He hit the deck.
This is what you expect from the San Antonio Spurs. The interior defense. Kobe goes inside. Shot contested by Robinson. Maybe got a piece of it. The second effort looked like Kobe walked. And then the follow through on the shot. Duncan gets a piece of it. The rebound. Now they're off and running. That's what you expected to see more of San Antonio that we've not seen in this series.
4th team foul committed by the Lakers. Johnson using the pick. The running hook by Avery Johnson. And it's back to a 7-point lead for the Lakers.
Now Phil Jackson is up off the bench. Normally he does not get up much, but he's not happy right now. Feels the Lakers should be a double-digit win or leading right now with the way they've played.
Lakers have led by as many as 13. Shaw.
Timely shooting. Remember last year in Portland, games 6 and 7. He was the guy that shot him back in the series tonight. 2 big threes.
Now that will put the Lakers over the foul limit. Derek Fisher arguing the call with the official, Danny Crawford. 5:35 remaining in the half. Lakers by 10. We'll be right back. Fisher of the Lakers playing Avery Johnson, reaching in right here, squeezing his way through, was called for the foul by the official Danny Crawford and then discussed it with Crawford.
I don't see David. I just see, so if I missed the bad screen, that's my mistake.
It's not the screen.
Okay.
He cannot sweep with his right arm on the dribble.
So I missed about 4 things on that play. All I saw, Derek, was you stick that arm out to stop him. So, okay.
You can't do that.
Okay, you got it. You got it, fellas.
Judge, jury, referee, you always got it. The players always posturing. Coach is always posturing, and Danny Crawford does such a great job of deflecting it. I hear you, whatever. Okay, now let's get back to the game. Let's get back to the game.
I missed 4 things on that play, right, according to Derek Fisher. So Avery Johnson at the line because that foul put the Lakers over the limit. 5:35 remaining in this first half. Lakers up by 10. They've led by as many as 13.
Well, Steve Kerr has checked into the game. San Antonio looking desperately for somebody to get loose at that 3-point line. They're only 1 of 5. The Lakers 5 of 8. So Lakers plus 12 at that 3-point line. Not expected.
And Tyronn Lue has come on to provide a rest for Kobe Bryant. Shaq has been off after the hot start. Daniels with Shaw back, going right at him. Good play by Shaw to close that baseline. Rick Fox defending on Steve Kerr and will not give him any looks. Robinson, David Robinson with a big bounce back in the first half. Now 6 of 8. He has 15 points. The Laker lead is back down to 7. Here's Shaq with a drop step and foul.
You see the frustration of Shaquille O'Neal that time, just jumped right into the chest of David Robinson. But I like what David's doing here tonight, Barb. You talked about it. No hesitation. You catch the ball. You don't need to drive. Look at the room that you have. Shaq is playing off of you. Go up and shoot the basketball. You're 6 of 8. Keep shooting the basketball. Make him come out and respect you because he's going to go at you on the other end.
Shaq is 2 for his last 7 from the field. Talking a moment ago about the 17 straight wins by the Los Angeles Lakers as you take a look at the drop step move and the foul committed by David Robinson. Doug, the Lakers are closing in on 2 calendar months without a loss. We're talking 53 days since that last defeat at the hands of the New York Knicks here in Los Angeles on the 1st of April.
When we did that game, remember, Kobe only played about 11 minutes. They lose 79-78, go on the road and win 4 straight, and from that point on they have been rolling, and Kobe was out during that stretch.
Brian Shaw on the foul. So they go 8-0 at the end of the regular season. Then they sweep Portland, sweep Sacramento, and they have won 2 out of 2 here against San Antonio. The NBA record, incidentally, 33 consecutive wins by the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. And best playoff runs. Well, Philadelphia 1983, 12-1. San Antonio and Chicago and Detroit all went 15-2, and the Lakers 9-0 to this point.
Phil was begging all season long for his team to put something together. Had not had more than a 5-game win streak. Well, now you know what? He's got his wish. They are playing the way he's wanted them to play all season long.
San Antonio, though, cutting into that lead. It's down to 5. Brian Shaw ripping it to Rick Fox. Good look from Shaw.
Well, he's giving them a nice lift off the bench. A couple threes. That was a gorgeous pass. It's what you want your bench to do. Come in and give you some valuable minutes.
Chant of defense from this crowd here at Staples. Steve Kerr. Duncan tried to back tap, but Brian Shaw is on it. For Shaq. And it leads to a San Antonio timeout.
The Lakers are getting easy baskets. Inside, a great entry pass again away from the defense. David gets caught down on the baseline. The power of Shaquille O'Neal. That's back-to-back layups. Greg Popovich is not happy about it. He says, give me a timeout. We're trying to get back into this game. We can't do it giving up layups. Kobe said, we want more of it. We're up 9.
And the Lakers with a 9-point lead, just under 4 remaining in this first half. Shaquille O'Neal with his first breakout game of this series, 20 points, 7 rebounds. You see the 3-point shooting. The Lakers continue to hit from downtown. They're 5 of 8 from beyond that 3-point line. Terry Porter is finally able to hit a 3, and that's been it for San Antonio. 1 for 6.
Mark, the Lakers were 27% from 3 in the first 2 series. Where'd this shooting come from?
Aaron Fisher, one of the major reasons that they've turned it from downtown. There's Tim Duncan setting up on Horace Grant. Oh, behind the back setup. Beautifully done. Antonio Daniels for David Robinson. Horace Grant played only the first 2 minutes, picked up 2 fouls, sat down, and now makes his return.
I don't think Horace felt well yesterday. We talked to him. It sounded like he was fighting a cold.
Fox. Yes, Horace a bit under the weather. Grant battling for position with Duncan. Robinson. And Shaq got a piece of it. Kobe Bryant able to get an extended rest with Teron Lue. Coming out, Kobe is back on the floor and then away from the ball. Shaq picks up his 3rd.
David Robinson trying to beat him to the spot. Here comes Shaquille O'Neal. And both these two guys just sort of start arm wrestling, and Ronnie Nunn rules that Shaq dislodges in the post. That's a big foul now. Shaq sits down with 3. Spurs within 7. What can they do in this 3 minutes, Marv? This is a huge 3 minutes for the Spurs now to make a push before halftime.
Robinson being played by Grant. And the outside official, Ronnie Nunn, with the call on the Lakers. It's on Fox. So the Lakers over the foul limit. And Antonio Daniels will shoot 2. Shaq sending it out after picking up his 3rd. Reminder, tomorrow at 5 Eastern, right here on NBC, the scene will shift to Milwaukee, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bucks and the Sixers. Allen Iverson's status questionable. We'll know more after We hear from his coach, Larry Brown, coming up at halftime. And then on Sunday, Game 4 of this series between the Lakers and the Spurs. And remember, Memorial Day Monday, the Sixers and the Bucks. Again, Game 4 in the East. So you can enjoy the NBA playoffs all Memorial Day weekend long right here on NBC. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Kobe behind the back. Fox met quickly by Ferry. Shot clock at 5. Lou sets it up. Grant is rejected with 3 on the shot clock.
The interior defense now, when you look at the Laker team, really nobody to post up other than Kobe Bryant. So the Spurs can be very aggressive. They don't want to give up any layups, force jump shots. Maybe get out and get a little run going.
Horry on the offensive glass. And the officials conferring. Last touch by the Spurs, says Jack Neese, who had the angle from the far side.
See, the Spurs are in a great position here right now. Down only 5. Kobe and Shaq have dominated, and they are right in this game.
Robert Horry's done a terrific job off the board. 6 rebounds, 4 on the offensive glass. Here's Kobe giving it up. 3-second violation.
Well, the one thing that the Lakers can't do right now is stand around and watch Kobe play. I mean, he's got to create, but they can't get up on top of each other where there's no spacing. And on that play, you had 3 guys standing right next to each other, Mark. No passing lanes.
Avery Johnson has done a good job. Cut into that Laker lead. 1-13. Here's Avery. Rebounded by Grant. Teron Lue pushing down. Here's Fox. The kick.
In 2 games of making runs to get in games, Avery Johnson misses that layup. Instead of a 3-point game, it's now 7.
1:45 remaining in the half. Avery Johnson dribbling right into traffic. Avery able to get it back. Kobe ending up over the body of Avery Johnson. Fox is out. Bryant back to Fox. End action by the Lakers. And the Spurs will talk it over.
When you're struggling to score, energy plays, hustle plays. Teron Lue pushes the ball ahead. Rick Fox goes to the basket, doesn't get it, but here comes Robert Horry with the offensive rebound. The next play, excuse me, that's Kobe. The next play, the fast break, and once again, they're up 9.
Welcome back to Los Angeles. Lakers with a 53-44 lead on the Spurs. And another fast break by the Lakers.
Well, a loose ball and the Lakers get to it, and it's the speed and quickness, Marv, that the Lakers have had the advantage. We know that they have the Twin Towers in San Antonio, but the speed and athleticism of the Lakers on the perimeter have really hurt the Spurs. But the Lakers tonight, 12 offensive rebounds. They're hitting their 3-point shots, and with Shaq sitting down, they're +2. So the Spurs have had a chance to get into the lead. The Lakers have increased it by 2.
And that was assist number 6 for Kobe Bryant just a moment ago. Duncan lost it. Good play by Horry. And it will be Laker ball. So Kobe Bryant with 15.6 assists. Shaquille O'Neal, 20 points and 7 rebounds. David Robinson leading San Antonio with 17. Here's Horace Grant. Just under 1 minute remaining in this first half. Ferry not able to hit. Horry with yet another rebound.
You know, as an outside shooter, when you don't get a lot of shots, sometimes you hurry them, and it looks like the Spurs shooters are hurrying shots now.
Grant. Avery Johnson. Here's Danny Ferry.
That's not his game. Shooting off the dribble. That's 2 quick shots by Danny Ferry. Now what it's going to do, the Lakers are going to come back. They'll use clock. And if they score, psychologically, they go in with a double-digit lead. That was not a good possession.
And now Derek Fisher checks back in, replacing Horace Grant. And here's Steve Kerr checking in. Greg Popovich looking at the other end, a San Antonio possession and a long-range possibility for Kerr.
And also, too, he does not want Duncan to pick up another foul. He wants to save him. That extra foul will be important going into the second half.
Got a half-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Ron Lue getting a good run here in the second quarter and has done a nice job. Down to 8 seconds. So Kobe checked the clock, rejected emphatically, but a foul. Nice move by the somersault by
We're seeing it all.
Acrobatic Kobe Bryant.
Kobe flashes in from that weak side. Antonio Daniels gets the foul down low. Robinson got the nice block, and then the little degree of difficulty, a little flip by Kobe. So we're seeing it all from him here in this series in the first 2.5 games.
That rejection by Robinson, his 4th of the night. Kobe telling us that he spent the summer making 2,000 jumpers a day from 15 feet and beyond. Can you visualize shooting 2,000 jump shots?
That's a lot of shots, 2,000 jump shots. But you know what? I wouldn't put it past Kobe because the guy loves basketball. I don't know that he has any hobbies. I think he probably
stamp collecting them.
No, it's stamp collecting. Okay, but I just, you know, I could see him being in the gym, and that's one of the things he came back and really was probably the only guy ready to start the season after winning the championship.
Final seconds of this first half. Avery Johnson for Danny Ferry, and it was blocked by Kobe Bryant. So the Lakers are able to walk off with that double-digit lead here at halftime. Try to make it 3 out of 3 against the Spurs. San Antonio desperately trying to get back into the series as they trail 2-0 and now down by 10 at halftime. Let's go over to Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. With Rick Fox, 6 points in the first half for Rick, 5 rebounds. Did Shaquille O'Neal specifically ask you and your other teammates to throw him the ball tonight?
He said anybody in a yellow jersey with a 34 on it, get it to him. And that's, you know, coming home, we know he's played well here this playoffs at home, and he's gotten off to a great start.
Is that one of the rare times that he has called you guys out and asked for it like that?
On his birthday was the other time. He scored like 60-something points. So if we keep getting it to him, I hope we can drop about 60 tonight.
You concerned at all with the way David Robinson has responded and Shaq's 3 fouls going into the second half?
Expected. You know, he's a great player, and it was about time he came around. Now if we can only contain the rest of those guys, he can have 30 points if he wants.
Rick, thank you. Good luck in the second half. All right, back to you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Jim. Well, Tim Duncan has been contained, just 2 of 8, 6 points in the first half. David Robinson leading the way for the Spurs with 17, Shaq with 20, and Kobe with 16. A 10-point Laker lead at the half. Stay tuned for Ahmad, Kevin, and PJ back at our New York studio. You are watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
Jim Gray back in Los Angeles as we get ready for the second half. I'm joined by the Spurs head coach, Greg Popovich. Greg, this in fact right here, this half is your season. What did you tell the guys?
Well, we talked about, you know, not feeling bad, not hanging your head. Just worry about the fact that they're getting loose balls. They got 12 offensive rebounds. They've made some threes. We've got to get out better defensively and obviously make some shots, both from the field and from the line. But it's not hang your head time. It's go get angry and play better.
Now, David has really responded tonight. Here in the first half, Shaq has 3 fouls. What will you do to go after Shaq here in the second half?
Well, we'll continue to try to put the ball in David's hands because he's, you know, he obviously wanted to be more aggressive tonight. He's taking his shots and doing a real good job. So as long as he's doing that, we'll go to him just as much.
Pop, thank you. Good luck in the second half.
You bet. Thanks.
All right, Marv, back out to you and Doug.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Greg Popovich making the point we're not making our shots. Well, they're shooting 37%. Not good first half. And the Lakers at 44%. And Doug, the story continues to be that Shaq and Kobe excel, and one of the Twin Towers having problems. And tonight it happens to be Tim Duncan, who's struggling in the first half.
Well, the game plan for the Lakers, we're going to pound it inside to Shaquille O'Neal to get this started, and they did a great job of that. Kobe looked for him early. You see, he got in foul trouble, but he had 20 points, 9 of 14. Kobe, they've had no answer for his speed and penetration, 16 points, so they get 36 points combined. And for the Spurs, David Robinson, 7 of 10. The rest of the team, 9 of 33. Duncan and Anderson, 2 of 13. You expect Duncan to pick it up, but those three-pointers, somebody's got to start making a shot for them, Marv.
And as we head to the second half, it's the Lakers 54 and the Spurs 44. And as Greg Popovich agreed, the season on the line for the Spurs. Back to the Staples Center in Los Angeles as the second half gets underway. And the San Antonio Spurs certainly had opportunities to crack through that Laker double-digit lead, with the Lakers shooting only 7 for 24 from the field. In the second quarter, foul is called. Rick Fox picks up his second. That big turnaround play, that Avery Johnson drive.
Well, instead of a three-point game, they come down and get a layup 7, and then they stretch it out and go to 10. And Mark, we talked about Shaq goes into the bench at 3:08 with fouls, and they get outscored 5-2 the Spurs. So instead of cutting into it, the Lakers actually extended it to a double-digit lead. So you could see what Greg Popovich was thinking at halftime. He knows he's got to try to get Derek Anderson involved. So what does he do? He runs the first play, and he's an excellent free throw shooter. Now he's seen that ball go in the basket a couple times. Maybe that will help him.
First points of the game for Anderson, making his return tonight back from that separated right shoulder, the injury sustained in game 1 of the series against Dallas off a hard foul by Juwan Howard. Here's Derek Fisher. So Fisher with 8 points, and the Lakers lead 56-46.
Now, confidence is a beautiful thing.
Derek Fisher has made it back from the stress fracture injury. Here's Robinson. And knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Duncan.
Derek Fisher coming off that screen roll. David Robinson tries to get out there at the last moment. Fisher with that high arcing shot. And Marv, I read something that he had really thought about maybe not even playing at all this year, but when he see he could get back for 20 games, he decided to give it a chance. So, you know, thank goodness for him that he was able to come back.
Kobe Bryant to the reverse and draws the foul. As Derek Fisher said the other day, at one point he was close to writing off the entire season. Tim Duncan picks up his third. Derek said he was getting frustrated. He was one day away from deciding to sit out for the year, and how this Laker season would have changed if he had not returned.
Well, they're 24-5 since he's come back. More importantly, he's given them toughness, energy. He gives them speed. You see what he's done in the season, the playoffs. I don't think there's anybody that ever would imagine that he would have been averaging these kind of points. He has 1 turnover in 79 minutes in the first 2 games, 6-to-1 assist-turnover ratio, shooting the 3, and the team trusts him. When he talks, they really listen.
Fisher played 41 minutes in game 2 the other night without a turnover. A minute and a half gone by in the third.
Lakers score here. I think you're going to see a timeout. The Spurs cannot let this game get away from them.
Fisher. Robinson with the rebound. Once again, Greg Popovich going with Derek Anderson as the small forward, a backcourt of Daniels and Porter, along with the Twin Towers. Duncan lost it. Kobe Bryant making contact. It counts. And the foul.
Kobe running the ball down the floor, and right at the moment where he gets to the defender, he turns his back, gets a little bump in, creates space, and gets to the basket. Now watch this, Barbie. He just turns his back, and Antonio Daniels tries to flop, and when he doesn't get the call, it opens up the lane for Kobe Bryant. And I think we heard P.J. Carlesimo saying there at halftime, the first 3 to 5 minutes would be vital to the Spurs. Not a good start here. Kobe does miss the free throw, but the Lakers now up 13.
Anderson played tightly by Fox. Here's Anderson. Nice play. Beautiful setup. The slashing Derek Anderson finding David Robinson. And the Lakers now lead 59-48.
If he and Antonio Daniels can make some of those kind of plays, maybe they can get back in this game.
Bryant from O'Neal rejected by Robinson, and then a blocking foul. Spurs upset. They thought it was a late whistle.
Horace Grant with a great cut to the basket. The block shot by David Robinson. They're going to rule the secondary defender stepped over and got the blocking foul, and Greg Popovich very unhappy, understanding that the Spurs need some kind of run here to get themselves into the game. They can't keep trading baskets. They've got to find some kind of solution to getting some scores and some stops.
Foul was called on Derek Anderson. Horace Grant, who has been limited because of the early foul trouble, able to get on the score sheet with the free throws. And the Lakers back up to a 13-point margin, equaling their biggest lead of the night. Here's Antonio Daniels. So he has 8 points, coming off a playoff career high 24. Daniels was in the starting lineup the first 2 games for the injured Derek Anderson. Fox for 3. With a nice move, but once again it seems, Doug, the Lakers have taken away that angle jump shot where Duncan has been so successful in the past. Bad pass by Kobe into traffic. Here's Daniels with Fisher back, and a foul, a blocking foul on Fisher.
Now we've seen the Spurs get a couple stops and get a couple opportunities in the open court. Now Antonio Daniels spotting up, hitting the little jump shot off the screen. And then Duncan, you know he's going to keep working. He's going to work himself into the game. And David Robinson had a big first half, but they're going to also need Duncan to score. Not just David Robinson, and Marv, you talked about it, trying to get him to make tough shots. That was a very difficult shot. And the Spurs with the stop, they run right back down the floor, and Antonio Daniels gets to the free throw line. So all of a sudden, Daniels and Anderson showing some life, as is Duncan. Very positive signs now for San Antonio.
Daniels is 78% free throw shooter. San Antonio cuts the Laker lead to 7 with 8.5 remaining in the third. Now Derek Fisher playing with 3 fouls, as is Shaquille O'Neal. Bryant spinning his way on Daniels. 21 points for Kobe Bryant.
Antonio Daniels did everything you wanted to do. He's just not big enough to stop that. And Greg Popovich knows it. He just doesn't want Kobe getting layups. That's where Kobe really broke their backs in game 1.
Daniels using the pick. He's been off just 2 of 7 from the field. This is game 3 of the best of 7 Western Conference Final Series. Spurs trying to get back into it. Kobe on the recovery. And last touch. Well, Ronnie Nuttall on the baseline was indicating last touch by the Lakers, but Danny Crawford had the better angle and says no, deflected out by the Spurs.
Oh, great players, so creative. Look at Kobe does a 360 going, shoots the ball going the opposite way. What a tough shot, but Spurs not able to come up with that rebound.
Shaq able to repost and got the roll. That's 22 for Shaquille O'Neal, and the Lakers now lead 65-54. Fox with the steal. And the Spurs are saying should be a double dribble, but apparently was deflected out of bounds by Anderson. Lob was intended for Shaquille, who was not looking that way. Would not have been able to handle it.
Did you see that look, Zach? Like, who are you throwing that to?
Nice follow by Robinson off the miss by Duncan, and the Lakers now lead by 9. Here's Shaq going glass.
It's amazing how much more comfortable he is playing at home. I mean, a great player. When he gets here on the Staples Center, especially in the playoffs, his confidence level just soars.
Phil Jackson saying he was particularly uncomfortable back in his hometown of San Antonio, although Phil feels that, as most coaches do, that his man is not getting the calls on the road. Here's Kobe. And the Lakers extend to a 13-point lead. San Antonio calling for time.
The most dominant inside player in the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal, weaves his way through two defenders and gets a little soft shot up and in, and then goes off the glass with a little right-hand hook shot. Back-to-back scores in the pass length of the court to Kobe Bryant. So once again, the Spurs get it to 7. 6 straight points pushed it back to 13. The Spurs are continuing to play uphill.
Has come up with a solid all-around performance here tonight back home in L.A. 11 of 16 from the field for 24 points.
Well, you see the numbers. 8 more field goal attempts at home. The rebound, just a much more aggressive player. Gets to the free throw line more often. And tonight he has been unstoppable, Marv.
There's his dad, Philip Harrison, enjoying the action. Actually, Shaq and his dad spending the week with a heavy heart. Shaquille O'Neal's first cousin, Lawrence Webb, passed away this Tuesday while on duty as a firefighter in Newark, New Jersey. Illegal defense called for the first time. Shaq, who said he comes from a family of firefighters and police officers, said that he and his cousin had often talked about growing up to become firemen. And he called his cousin, Lawrence Webb, heroic. Said he always wanted to be a fireman, saved several people, and just went right back at it, and said that he would dedicate tonight's performance to his cousin Lawrence Webb. 23 points now for David Robinson, and the Lakers lead it 69-58. Just under 6 remaining in the third. Kobe Bryant off the spin. David Robinson with the box out. Well, it was David Robinson who said we have to play this game as it is an elimination game. As it is, after dropping the first 2 at home, trailing 2-0 in his best of 7. Good play by Robinson. San Antonio is in a position where they must win 4 of the next 5, which is very unlikely against this Los Angeles Laker ball club.
Well, they know unless there was an injury to a Kobe or Shaq, that's not going to happen. That's why they have to win this game tonight. Look at the defense, just every shot being contested.
Porter for 3. The Spurs just cannot hit from downtown. Their strength during the regular season. Ferry is trying to force Bryant into a travel. Instead is called for the foul.
Well, when you don't double team Tim Duncan, it forces the Spurs to take tough three-point shots. They get those threes out of the double teams, and the Lakers have not double teamed much tonight, Marv. All those shots have been contested.
Foul is called, with Fox taking it to the rim. Foul on Robinson. That is his second. So the Spurs are over the foul limit. Rick Fox to the line for the first time. The Lakers seeking to make it 18 straight wins. Their last loss April the 1st here at home to the Knicks. A reminder, tomorrow night, right here on NBC, a tribute to comedian Chris Farley. It all begins at 8, 7 Central, as Farley stars in the comedy movie Beverly Hills Ninja. Then it's an SNL Chris Farley tribute special at 10, 9 Central, all tomorrow night, starting at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
Mark, we saw that little shot at the bench. We saw Sean Elliott in the picture. He has not played tonight, and we talked to Greg Popovich yesterday, and Sean Elliott does not talk about it, but his knee has been bad. He's got a sore heel, and I think he felt like he was really struggling physically, and we might not see him in the game tonight.
I think even watching Sean Elliott release on jump shots, you can tell that there's something wrong with the lift. Kobe checking the shot clock. Here's Shaq. Kept alive by Grant. And they get the new 24.
Well, you're down 13. You get a good defensive sequence, and you don't get the offensive rebound. And Shaq scores. Those are the killer plays, the aggressive plays, the offensive rebounds that just break your heart when you're playing uphill the entire night. It just takes so much out of your spirit, Marv.
26 and 10 for Shaquille O'Neal. And it's the biggest lead of the game for the Lakers. They're up to a 15-point margin. Foul is called a reach-in on Grant.
Shaq takes a very difficult shot, and look at Horace Grant sandwiched between two. San Antonio Spurs defender actually goes over Duncan, and what does it lead to? It leads to this little shot in the lane by Shaquille O'Neal. So you lose a shot clock possession, you lose rebounds, and you give up 2 points. And more importantly, you look at the clock and you say, we're running out of time here. All of a sudden, this lead is growing, and we're not doing anything to get ourselves back in this game.
Tim Duncan only 3 of 7 at the line. It has been a subpar performance for Tim Duncan. Just 9 points. Does have 11 rebounds, 6 assists, but not providing the offense that he usually does to the Spurs. There's Fisher for 3. Offensive rebound by Shaq, but struck. Good play by Daniels. We're coming up on 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Avery Johnson. David Robinson. Good fake. And the tip missed by Robinson.
Sort of microcosm right there of San Antonio tonight. Close, but they just can't dent this lead. Robinson misses 2 easy ones. Fisher gets fouled, throws it up, and it goes in. Now watch Robinson up and under. He missed it. It rolls off the little tip. It rolls off as well. The tip out, the fast break. Fisher attacks. He gets the contact. Doesn't even see the basket. It goes in. A 3-point play opportunity. The Lakers rolling up 16.
As always, a star-studded crowd here at Staples in Los Angeles. Tony Danza on hand. Danny DeVito. Cameron Diaz. Give me the choke side. Denzel Washington. Ben Stiller. Sugar Ray Leonard. It keeps coming. Samuel L. Jackson. Michael Clark Duncan. David Hasselhoff. And, of course, Jack. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Marv, I told Jack just a few minutes ago that he looked an awful lot like Jack Kent Cooke with those glasses on tonight, the former owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, the man who built the Forum, owned the Redskins. He said his wife, Jack Kent Cooke's wife, some 35 years ago, thought that Nicholson looked like her husband, called him and asked him if he wanted to come to the game, and he has had the tickets ever since. Marv?
A fascinating behind-the-scenes anecdote from Jim. Just under 3 remaining in this third quarter. And it will be a jump ball. The Lakers have a 76-59 lead. It's their biggest lead of the game. And Doug, you take a look at this incredible Laker turnaround. Here they are looking to make it 18 straight wins. I was looking back through some of the newspaper clips. Early April, Phil Jackson quoted as saying, I have doubted my ability to coach these guys in the style I want to coach. To have them play with the vision that I think they have, I don't think I've had a more difficult season in the NBA. And I would think even Phil is amazed as to what has taken place with this miraculous turnaround.
Well, when we spoke to him yesterday, remember he said, you know what, I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. Was it going to be that we couldn't mend fences and get it all together, a lot like what Portland went through, or could we get it together? He said, but the one thing I knew, the guys all really got along. They were good guys. You know, Fisher sat and watched for a while. You had Kobe injured for a while. You had Shaq, so they all got a chance to watch. I think that really helped as well.
Robinson is fouled. It's a block on Fox. And Phil Jackson made those statements after a loss to the Clippers, then a loss in Atlanta. San Antonio with 12 straight wins in the playoffs, followed by the 89 Lakers. The Spurs of '99 won 12 in a row. these LA Lakers looking to run the table in the playoffs.
Well, this has been some kind of stretch, and I can only imagine what's going through the Spurs' mind right now as they look up at that clock, 2:30 to go, down 16, understanding we've got to find a way to get back in this game. Marv, the one thing they've struggled, they have not been able to dent this Laker defense. We've talked so much about the Spurs defense. The Lakers defense has been stifling.
And the Lakers looking to avenge the sweep at the hands of the San Antonio Spurs, who knocked them out of the playoffs by sweeping them back in 1999. The Spurs on their way to the title. Here comes Kobe. Rebounded by Shaq.
Stop that. I mean, David Robinson reaches in and tries to hold Shaq down. This is just power. But once again, offensive rebounds. The Spurs not doing a good job on the boards, and the Lakers are relentless. Watch this follow by Shaquille O'Neal. Almost broke David Robinson's arm. Got the score and will get to the line. And look at Kobe. Even though he got to the line and lane and missed a shot, and Rick Fox, Shaq did not give up on the play, ran the entire 94 feet, and was rewarded with the offensive rebound.
Foul on David Robinson. That is his third. And Shaquille O'Neal is hearing the chant of MVP. 29 points, 12 rebounds for Shaq. And the Lakers have pulled away. They're up by 19. Kobe Gamble looking for the steal. Daniels not able to take advantage of the help from O'Neal. Here's Antonio Daniels. 79-62. Los Angeles with a minute and a half remaining in this third quarter. Fox from downtown.
And the Spurs are saying, why can't we make one of those? But you know what the difference is? He was able to catch the ball, set it, release it, almost a set shot with no hand in his face. All the Spurs shots out there have been contested.
Daniels able to penetrate. In the history of the NBA, the league's regular season champion, the team with the best record, and that would be the San Antonio Spurs in this case, have been swept out of the playoffs in the same season only 3 times. The 1977 Lakers, the last team to be eliminated. Derek Fisher continues the onslaught. The Lakers in 77 were the last team to be knocked out of the sweep after compiling the best record during the regular season. And now the Lakers looking to do the same to the Spurs, who are facing an 0-3 deficit. Tim Duncan. And Duncan now 3 for 11. Standing ovation as this third quarter concludes. Kobe Bryant sweeping through on the reverse. Final seconds of the quarter. Daniels fires. The Los Angeles Lakers with an 86-64 lead on the San Antonio Spurs. The chant of MVP continues. 29 for Shaq, 25 for Kobe. The fourth quarter coming up. The Spurs are demoralized. We'll be back after this from your local station.
Playing hard. It's their ball. No dunk. No dunk on this thing. Let's keep playing hard and keep playing with class. We're playing to play well. Come on now. Let's go. Come on, baby.
And this moments ago, Greg Popovich trying to lift the spirits of Tim Duncan, who has had a very long night. 3 for 11, 9 points. And this is a stunner with the Lakers building a 22-point lead. They outscored the Spurs 21-9 the final minutes of the third quarter.
Well, Marv, you and I get a chance to spend time around Tim Duncan. This guy's a competitor, and this guy loves to win, and he's so hard on himself. So when you see him sitting with Greg Popovich, Pop is trying to keep him as into this as he possibly can, but you know Duncan puts so much pressure on himself to play well that when these kind of nights happen, it just eats him alive. He will not sleep now until the game on Sunday. I can tell you that right now. His mind is going to be racing about how he can play better.
And Game 4 will be played here in Los Angeles on Sunday, starting 5:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 here in the West. Kobe Bryant for 3. And again, the hustle as Horry took it away from Johnson. The Lakers have been on virtually every loose ball.
That's 16 offensive rebounds now for the Lakers. You cannot win. I mean, the Lakers are shooting 49% with 16 offensive rebounds.
Here's Bryant. Kobe once again with the reverse. We touched on it earlier, the fact that the Spurs have been shocked by the speed of Kobe Bryant.
No, I agree with that, Marv. I think he just gets the basket so fast, they're not reacting.
Johnson.
Marv, have you ever heard a co-MVP chant?
Oh, you're handing for the finals you're talking about.
I'll tell you, these guys together have been unbelievable. They really have.
Fisher pops it back. And here is Grant. Last touch by the Spurs.
The Spurs pride themselves on getting a big man over to protect that basket as Kobe goes around Duncan. Nobody there at all, and Kobe with the spectacular over-the-shoulder finish. Horry with a set shot 3, doesn't get it, but look at the loose ball. Once again, who does it go to? The Lakers.
Bryant with the step. 29 for Kobe Bryant, and he is 11 for 23 from the field as this has turned into a rout. The Lakers 90, Spurs 66. It was a rare bank shot for Tim Duncan.
Be interesting to see if the Lakers continue to play like this. Will we even see Shaquille in the fourth period?
Bill Jackson taking Shaquille out right at the end of the third quarter. Here's Robert Horry. His shot has been off, but he's done it in other areas, in particular off the boards. Rose being played by Horry. And you saw Horry reach in to knock it away. Bryant. Offensive foul.
You can see the Lakers' game plan. They're just getting the ball into Kobe's hands and say, drive that ball to the basket. And it's been a highlight film. Look at this, the over-the-shoulder two-handed dunk, the spectacular finish, and then here he comes down the floor once again, creating, getting in the lane, the beautiful finish, and it's just get the ball to Kobe, penetrate, make plays for your teammates, especially with Shaq down on the bench right now resting. So, you know, Mark, I think you made a great point. I don't think that anybody would understand how much the speed of the Lakers has hurt this San Antonio team. Going into the series, you think it's going to be the big guys of San Antonio, but it's really been the speed of the Lakers on the perimeter that has broken the Spurs down and gotten them just innumerable opportunities for open shots.
Kobe has been playing at a different level. Foul is called. It is on Fisher, number 4. There have been comparisons to Michael Jordan at age 22. You saw Michael at 22, obviously not surrounded by the same type of players, did not have a center like Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, you know what? I don't like to compare players because I think greatness stands alone, and both of them obviously are great. But the one thing I see is that same look in their eyes. Duncan goes to the basket, but that same look that when they have you on their heels, that you are in trouble. They keep coming at you. They're relentless, and especially Kobe on the road. It's the same thing Michael used to do. He would just grasp the game on the road and would not let you lose, and we've seen so much of that Kobe in the playoffs.
Foul on Duncan is 4th. Let's go over to Jim Gray. Jim?
With all the comparisons that are going on, Michael Jordan was asked about how he feels being compared with Kobe Bryant. He says, I don't see it negatively. He says he sees some similarities, particularly the way that he goes to the hole. And he asked how Kobe had gotten so good so quickly and how did things turn. He says compromise and maturity. The kid is 22 years old. He's going to make some mistakes, and he's willing to learn. I don't think anybody questions that.
All right, Jim. And on cue, Kobe Bryant able to field the offensive rebound and convert to extend to a 92-66 San Antonio lead. The Lakers are headed to their 18th straight win. We'll be back in a moment. We are witnessing another magnificent performance by Kobe Bryant. Look at that stat line. Kobe doing it from all angles, showing the entire repertoire. Kobe taking it to the rim. He's been hitting jump shots, hitting on the reverse. We talk about Kobe with his coach, Phil Jackson.
I think the biggest key for us is that the maturity of Kobe in his leadership role now, where his teammates trust him, he trusts his teammates, and they're allowing him to be a really kind of a court general out there besides the guy that steps into big plays. Has really vaulted this team from, you know, a really good team to a team that, you know, now has that feel about the confidence that they have.
So Kobe with 31 thus far this evening, 28 points in Game 2, coming on strong in the second half, preceded by that Jordan-like 45 points in Game 1. That preceded by the career playoff high 48 in Sacramento to sweep the Kings.
And it just goes on and on with Kobe Bryant. The thing I love about him is he loves to play basketball. He loves to be in the arena. The electricity that he brings to this team is really amazing. They just feed off of his greatness, and then you throw in the dominance of Shaq inside. They are unstoppable right now.
And Shaq able to bank it home, and he comes up hobbling.
Oh, you know, he's been sitting over there for a while. You wonder if he's stiffened up a little bit. Phil's going to have to keep his eye on him. The last thing you want to do in a 28-point game right now is get Shaq dinged up going into a possible deciding game on Sunday.
Daniels. And Horry with the rebound. That's 9 rebounds for Robert Horry. And Shaq continues to limp. Guarded now by the 6'7" Malik Rose. 7.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Foul on Daniels, making contact with Fox.
Marvin did the game last year in the finals, and I watched the Lakers go through last season. They were 67-15, the best record in the NBA, and they had some ups and downs in the playoffs. And, you know, so I sort of felt like they were going through a stage where they were hoping they were as good as what their record was last year. What I see now is a team that knows they were better than their record is this year. They are playing incredible basketball at the right time. They know they're going to win.
That will count at the 24-second buzzer. And Shaq hanging in, but there's no question that he's hobbling.
Every pass contested. I mean, you're up 30, you're stealing the basketball. I mean, they're not letting in. They are not giving the Spurs any daylight. It's almost like we're going to crush your spirit, so there will be no Sunday.
Would you think that the Lakers would take a timeout to get Shaq out of there?
Yeah, that's why I said it's interesting here how long Phil's going to let him go with this. I guess as long as he's tippy-toeing in over Malik Rose, why take him out? Shaq now leaving his hand up. The old great shooters, you know how when they leave the hand up after it goes.
Open shot for Duncan. O'Neal with the rebound. Picked off by Duncan. The Lakers with a 98-66 lead on San Antonio. Derek Anderson. The Spurs' worst loss this season. A 22-point defeat at the hands of the New York Knicks in New York. That's the only loss by 20-plus this season. Shaq. And Ferry on the rebound. The numbers on Duncan now 3 for 15.
They've done a great job of keeping him out of the lane. Marv, he has not gotten anything easy. Everything is a jump shot. Robert Horry has done a terrific job of contesting the shots, and Horace Grant has done a nice job of keeping him off balance by banging him. This is the play that Shaquille O'Neal gets hurt on. Let's take a look to see what happens. Can't hardly see it there. I don't know if it's a muscle or an ankle, but we'll have to check it out and we'll find out what's going on. Here's the next time down the floor. Shaquille O'Neal picks up the loose ball right at the shot clock. He picks it up and lays it in. And in another one, little tippy-toe jumper over Malik Rose. The big fella's got it going. Gary B, the trainer, talking to him. We'll see if Shaq comes back in the game when we come back.
Welcome back to the Staples Center. A great game for Shaquille O'Neal. 35 points, 17 rebounds. But look at this play just a moment ago when he takes this shot. Malik Rose guarding him. Shaq goes up. He twists his left ankle. He comes down limping. Shaq just told me he's done for the game. He will not return. He twisted it. He hopes that he'll be all right. Gave us the thumbs up signal. We're now joined by his very proud father, Sergeant Phil Harrison. Sergeant, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen your son play better than he has in the past month and a half?
Yeah, but first I want to say to our cousin Lawrence Webb, we love you, we miss you, God bless you. And he played great this game. He came in his own, him and Kobe playing good team ball, and the whole team was playing good ball.
What was the trigger that you feel ignited this in this great play between those players?
Well, what was a media thing? They had to get the thing together and work out themselves, what they did. Between each other, worked out each other and get everybody involved. Now they're on the way to a roll, and they're playing good basketball right now.
Now, you are Shaq's harshest critic. What do you see that he can still improve?
Free throw line. He has to get the rhythm down, always rhythm. If he can't get his rhythm down right, he won't make the shots. But he's doing really good now. He's making when we need him.
Now, Sergeant, you are one of the few people who he will listen to.
And you will his mother too now. Listen to his mother.
Okay. And you will critique every game of his.
I will, that's right.
What will you tell him after tonight's game?
I tell him that he came to his own, he calmed down and played good basketball. Didn't let the referees bother him, what they did in San Antonio. And he's a player, class act.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Back to you, Mark.
All right, thank you, Jim. Well, Shaq with 35 points, 17 rebounds. Meanwhile, Kobe continues to fire away. Kobe with 34 points. And here's Kobe.
So by my math, now that's 71 for Kobe and Shaq and 69 for the Spurs.
Exactly.
Are you proud of me?
Wow. Illinois State.
Are you proud
with
of me?
Those, obviously, those high-level math classes. Yes, excellent. Lakers now lead 103-69, and it has reached the point of embarrassment for the San Antonio Spurs when you consider this team had the best record in the NBA during the course of the regular season. They lose the first two in San Antonio. And now blown out here by the Lakers. And Greg Popovich was telling us as he referred back to game one, he said, we stunk. What will he say after game three?
Well, I tell you, you got to give the Lakers all the credit. They have done a marvelous job. Look at the loose balls. I mean, Madsen hustling for the loose ball. But what they've done is they've attacked them in their weakest areas. Kobe has been able to break them down at will from the perimeter. Tonight, the dominance of Shaq inside, their role players, everybody playing at the highest level. And then they've done a great job tonight on Duncan defensively. They've taken the Spurs out with their three-point shooting. I mean, it can go on and on and on. So when a team plays this poorly and they're that good, sometimes you got to tell that your opponent is just a superior team. And that's what we're seeing, Marv. They're superior in every area right now.
Kobe Bryant sitting down with 36 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Well, in the previous two games, David Robinson did not deliver the way he usually does. Tim Duncan had a 40-point game in game 2 in San Antonio. Tonight, Robinson, looking very offensive-minded, did come through. played well, 24 points, 12 rebounds, but Tim Duncan with one of the worst games of his NBA career, certainly in a big game situation. 3 for 14, only 9 points.
And his free throws, I mean, missed a ton of free throws tonight, too. So he had been shooting the free throws well. Tonight he does not shoot those well. It's going to be a long 36 hours or so here now before they get ready to play game 4. And what will the Lakers' mindset be? Are they going to come out and say we're going to finish this off? And Marv, today is May 25th. The Lakers' last home game going into today was May 8th. They had not played at home in 17 days. They've been rolling through everybody so much. They've had so much time off. And to stay as fresh as they are, you've got to give Phil Jackson and the staff a lot of credit, knowing how hard to work them and what they have to do to stay fresh with all the days off.
Here's Mark Madsen at the line. A reminder, tomorrow at 2 Eastern here on NBC, golf's legends will tee it up at the Senior PGA Championship, and through 2 rounds of play, Jim Thorpe leads the elite field by 1 stroke. That's 3rd round coverage of the Senior PGA tomorrow at 2 Eastern. Tom Watson 5 strokes back. Jack Nicklaus 7 strokes behind the leader. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the game. Samaki Walker will just checked in, playing for the first time in tonight's game. Steve Kerr off the steal. Lakers now going with Devin George, Mark Madsen, Robert Horry up front, Brian Shaw, and Tyronn Lue in the backcourt. Chanel Scott seeing his first action of this series.
And Marv, even with a 36-point lead, look at the defense of the Lakers. They are swarming, and they're not giving any good looks at the basket. They're going to get a shot clock violation here.
So the 24-second clock buzzer sounds, and the Spurs not able to get a shot off. The Lakers have outscored the Spurs here in the 4th quarter, 19-5 for San Antonio. It just gets worse and worse. Memorial Day playoff weekend will continue tomorrow on NBC, 5 o'clock Eastern. Allen Iverson, perhaps Allen Iverson and the Sixers taking on Ray Allen and the Bucks in the pivotal Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final Series. That's tomorrow on NBC. Iverson coming off the 5 for 26 struggle in Game 2. Ray Allen had the 38-point ball game for Milwaukee. Andrea Joyce reporting earlier today that ran into Allen Iverson, and he said if he feels the way he does today, tomorrow, he doesn't think he can play.
Well, Marv, it would make sense. You know, what Philadelphia has to think is we have to try to win 1 game in Milwaukee, get the home court back. So if he misses 1 game and he gets better and healthier where he can play at a better level, then you've got a better chance of winning Game 4. You play in Game 3 and you stay beat up and you can't get your legs back, then all of a sudden you struggle in Game 4. You could lose both games. So it makes sense that if he's not right, rest him to try to get that game on Memorial Day.
Shot clock violation. The ball back to San Antonio. The Spurs with only 5 points thus far in the 4th quarter. They've been outscored 19-5. The all-time NBA playoff record, fewest points in the 4th quarter, 5. Portland at Utah, May of '99. Samaki Walker gives it up. Anderson for 3. And Brian Shaw able to collar the rebound with a minute and 25 remaining in the game.
Marv, how about this? Rebounds. Lakers 61, Spurs 34 in the second half, 30-11 on the boards.
The alley-oop for Curry. Nice setup from Shaw. And the Lakers adding to this crushing margin, 107-69. Here's Scott. And a foul. Now they say the basket counts. Chanel Scott was racing back down court, did not realize that he was fouled, and the foul, so he'll go to the line.
Well, Robert Horry finally gets it easy when he has struggled to score, but he's done a great job defensively, and Kobe Bryant loves it. He's off his feet. All the rest of the team is over there resting. This guy's got so much energy right now. I think he can probably play a doubleheader, be like Ernie Banks. Let's play 2.
That's so 3.
Really?
Well, the Spurs will not go on the record books alongside Portland for fewest points in the 4th quarter of the playoff game. Off the three-pointer by Scott. They now have 8 points.
I guess now the discussion is, what will San Antonio bring on Sunday? Remember now, the Lakers 2 years ago were swept by this Spurs team. You think the Lakers would like to repay them, sweep them back? And it'll be interesting to see if the Spurs can regroup. It's going to be a tough day and a half before we see Sunday.
Steve Kerr has had trouble getting shots off.
The shooting is just every shot contested on the perimeter. I don't know what the Spurs are on the night from the three-point line, but I can only remember making one. I don't know if they even have more than that.
To Ron Lou. 111-72. This the worst defeat of the season for the Spurs. Prior to tonight, they had lost by 20-plus only one other time this season. That to the New York Knicks in New York. Final seconds. Scott, Strip, and the Los Angeles Lakers have walloped the San Antonio Spurs. The final 111-72 to take a 3-0 lead in this best of 7. And that is 18 straight wins for the Lakers and 11 straight in the postseason. Counting the Game 6 final of a year ago. We'll be back to talk to the Lakers in a moment. The final score, an overwhelming performance by the Lakers over San Antonio to take the 3-0 lead in this best of 7. The Spurs just 3 for 17 in the fourth quarter. They end up shooting 32%. Big night for Shaq and Kobe. Let's go to Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Marv, with Shaquille and Kobe. Shaq, let me ask you first about your ankle. You twisted it late in the game. Are you all right, and will you play on Sunday?
I'll be fine. I have great teammates. This was a sweet win for us. I'll just take the day off tomorrow and get ready for Sunday.
Now, after the game, your father embraced you. What exactly did Sergeant Phil Harrison say to you?
He always just tell me, just take it easy. Just play hard. Don't worry about anything. Just play through anything that the system might put you through. And just keep playing. And I've been doing that all 9 years in the league, my whole career. And I could really do it now that I'm playing with the best player in the world, in all the worlds, on all 9 planets.
You told me before the game that you were as angry and as mad as you have ever been going into a game. What was that all about, Shaq?
I'd really rather not say. We won the game. I was just upset. I want to say hi to my family, the Webb family, the O'Neal family. My cousin, Lawrence Webb, was a real hero in my life. He was a firefighter in Newark, New Jersey. He passed away the other day, so this game was for him. I just want to say hi to my family. I'm upset for a lot of reasons, but I'd rather not say. We're winning. And I think 5 more wins to our goal, part 2. We're just going to keep on going.
All right, Shaq, thank you. We appreciate the time. Kobe, another big game for you tonight. Seems like it's getting to be old hat. How have you guys managed to totally demoralize every opponent, and now specifically the Spurs?
Well, our coaching staff does such a great job preparing us for these games, and all we have to do really is go out in the game and execute it, and play with intensity and play with effort.
Rick Fox told us at halftime that Shaquille O'Neal said to you guys before the game, everyone with a yellow jersey with 34 on it, throw me the ball. Is this the first time that he's really called out for it and wanted the ball?
Well, he wanted it. He wanted it tonight. We knew from the pregame preparation that he was going to come ready to play. So the onus was on us to get him the ball in positions where he could do something with it.
Kobe, can you guys run the table, because that's going to be the talk now? You're 18-0 in the last 18 games. You're 10-0 here in the playoffs. Can you guys sweep through San Antonio and through the rest of the playoffs?
I don't know. All we can do is just play on Sunday and try to win that game and just move on.
All right, Kobe, when are we going to get a smile? Right now, I guess. All right, congratulations. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you, Jim. So once again, the final score from Los Angeles, the Lakers 111 and the Spurs 72. San Antonio with only 8 points in the fourth quarter. And as Jim discussed, the Lakers continuing their quest to run the table as they make it 18 straight wins, overall 12 straight in the postseason going back to last year. NBC's Memorial Day playoff weekend will continue tomorrow at 5. Eastern Time with Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That series tied at 1 between the Sixers and the Bucks. Coming up tonight here on NBC after your late local news, it's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Jay's special guest will be David Duchovny. So for Doug Collins and Jim Gray, I'm Marv Albert. Lakers 3-0 in this best of 7 over the Spurs. Thanks for tuning in. You've been watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.